Season 3 is just around the corner. I'm excited to see the changes in Battle Royale because some of the leaks are crazy. But what about creative mode? Creative changed forever this last season with the introduction of Creative 2.0. But where do we go from here? I'm going to talk about everything we can expect, including Creative 2.0 for console players and the entire roadmap of what we can look forward to in creative. Before we get into that, I want to review how things went this last season. We started with the normal season update where we got the kinetic blades and the new motorcycles, which were really fun to play with. The kinetic blades are an amazing weapon and have already made for some really fun game modes. But then the big update hit. Creative 2.0 finally came out. It was so exciting to see all of the new things in UEFN. We got all sorts of new tools like the terrain editor, modeling. We could import anything we wanted under the sun. And all in all, the launch was very, very exciting for the community in general. But there's some massive downsides and disappointments in this tool that I'm gonna talk about in just a second. Before we do, I just want to focus on some of the positives. Some of the new maps that we're seeing out of UEFN are absolutely stunning. I'm sure you've watched some of my videos of me playing the different maps, and some of these have absolutely blown me away. We're seeing things now in UEFN that we had only dreamed about in creative mode. So the tools are definitely a huge improvement over what we've been working with, and people are figuring out how to do some crazy things. And then also really interesting, this last season, Epic made an update to Discovery that has really opened my eyes to how many people are actually playing these maps. So you can see how many people are actually playing Battle Royale and also all of these other maps out here. Like, we can finally see how many people are actually playing Go Goated. 23,000 currently, and it's like in the middle of the morning where I'm at. The Pit has 22,000, Bio Zone Wars has 15,000. These practice maps are crazy. They get so many plays. Some of the most popular UEFN experiences, they're getting quite a bit of players too. 9,000, 7,000, 5,000. Fortnite has 2,700 people playing it right now. And while that might not sound like a lot concurrently, when you're getting a few thousand plays at any given time, that results in millions of plays. Like the inflatable death run, which was a really cool map, got over 5 million plays in just a month. That's a ton. Why is that significant? Epic actually released some of the numbers on what people are earning now on UEFN. And check this out. The top creators could earn over $10 million this year. That's insane. Now, one thing I've noticed about this chart that Epic released is that only a bit over 2,000 creators are earning any money in creative at all. That's a pretty small pool, but the ones that are earning top dollars are really earning top dollars. And that is super exciting. And ever since Epic released these numbers, I've been seeing more people from outside of the community saying, oh, I want to start making maps now. Well, of course you do. Everyone's here for the gold rush. But this is very exciting for those in the community, as you can not just make a real living, you can make life-changing money building maps in creative mode. But it isn't all good so far. There were two huge disappointments when they launched UEFN, and it all has to do with who can publish. The number one huge disappointment was that the creator must be at least 18 years old. Wow, that's a doozy. Even with Roblox, you can be 13 years old and create. And that was the rule before in Creative 1.0. My personal estimate is that about 60% of the creators in 1.0 were under 18 years old. So already with these new tools, Epic cut off more than half of their creator base. Why did they do that? I think the number one reason is it's because of being able to import anything you want. Like, I just imported my mustard bottle. Oh my gosh, you gotta stretch this up a little bit and make it look better. But you can import anything you want now in UEFN. And because of that, it creates all sorts of problems with children's laws and stuff like that. Like, what if someone imported something really inappropriate and then kids came into your unpublished island and were playing it? Ooh, the lawsuits. I mean, Epic is already dealing with a lawsuit where they have to pay $275 million for violating children's privacy law. That is so much money, guys. And if Epic were to somehow endanger children even further, oh man, the government would just crack down on that. That's why I think there's this 18-year-old law. So that really stinks, but I think Epic has one way around it, which I'll talk about in just a second. The number two really disappointing thing was that console players can't use UEFN. So we've already lost 60% of our creators that are under 18. Then I would probably say at least half of the remaining people are on console. So our creator base has shrunk significantly. And guys, I have seen the effects of this. Like, even the views on my YouTube channel have gone down since UEFN came out. Mostly because a lot of my audience before were console builders and people that were under 18 years old, and my content has taken a hit. Content creators like Richie Tunes, who focuses mainly on tutorials, their content is getting way less views now because the audience has just shrunk. I love watching the tutorials that Richie Tunes makes. He's a great creator. All of the tutorial community is just really shrunk because there's less builders now. But we know UEFN is going to come to console, and I think that's going to solve some of our 18-year-old problems, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Now, just a few more disappointing things. While the tools here are absolutely amazing, and I love everything we got, there were some big things we didn't get. In UEFN, we don't have the save device at all. Not being able to save progress is a huge blow to map makers. We also don't don't have the accolades device in UEFN. You can't provide experience for players as they make kills or accomplish goals, which makes it so BR players don't want to play creative. Another huge one not a lot of people are talking about is that voice chat doesn't work in UEFN maps. Like, you can't talk to other people on the map if they're not specifically partnered up with you. These are some basic features that UEFN just doesn't have, that Creative 1.0 does have. And then also, I was really disappointed that there's no way to have custom weapons or custom, I don't know, a lot of other things that it should have launched with that it didn't have. But I expect those things to come soon, and I'll talk about that in just a sec. But other than the big initial launch, Creative just didn't get a lot of updates. Like, we got a few small things in Creative 1.0, nothing to really write home to mom about, and the only real update we got in UEFN was a few ways to mess with characters, which I had a lot of fun doing some really crazy stuff with Mark Wahlbeck, so that was a great update. But other than that, we've only really gotten bug fixes. Now, having said that, I'm still trying to figure out all the tools that we got in UEFN because there's just so much to learn here. Let's talk about what I hope to see this season, including an update for console players. Now, with the launch of UEFN, Epic kind of outlined their whole roadmap for it. You can kind of see over here on the left the kind of games that we can currently make in UEFN and Creative 1.0, but then you'll see here later in 2003, we should be able to do tycoons, richer performances, adventure maps, richer platformers. So that's like death runs. But in order to do tycoons and have adventure maps, you have to have the save device. So persistence is going to be a huge thing that they're going to release, I think, this season, along with the accolades device and along with group chat. Those have got to come out. Now, another interesting thing here is competitive ladder, which to me, that means they need to give us the ability to have leaderboards to really do competitive ladder, like global leaderboards. To me, that would be a massive game changer for creative mode. Alternate camera games is another big one. So that is having the true ability to do side scrollers, top down, first person, etc. Not kind of the janky ones we've been seeing. But by the end of this year, we should be able to do role playing, MOBAs, large battle royales. So that's more than 100 players, maybe? I don't know. Lots of fun stuff to look forward to here. So if I were a betting man, I would say the number one thing we're going to get next is probably persistence in UEFN. So that is being able to save. If we get that next season, I think that's just going to open up so many possibilities in UEFN. Now I want to talk to console players and what UEFN in console would look like. I think for sure console will need to get some sort of a terrain editor. That is such a leg up for UEFN users. And I think that's something that could exist on console. Another big part of UEFN is this idea of importing. How could you do that on console? You can't go out into the internet and import whatever you want. But UEFN has this thing called Fab up here. When you open up Fab, you get all of these options for things that you can download. Check out all of these really cool packs that you can download. Some are free, some cost money. But when UEFN launched, there was only 2 rows on this, and now there's a whole bunch more. So this will continue to improve and expand so that console players could directly import something new and unique into their project. This is how I think they get around the rule for 18-year-olds, is by only allowing those under 18 years old to import directly from Fab that has been approved by Epic. And the number one most important thing console players could have is access to Verse, which is the program that runs your maps. This is where you can change and do anything if you know what you're doing. But I think next season is going to be a big one as we really start to see UEFN, Creative 2.0, and console players coming together and creating awesome experiences. I can't wait.